Brought to you by Mint Mobile. Stay tuned for a special offer at the end of the show. Hi, and welcome to the Mobile Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Miriam Jouar, and today is Friday, August 14, 2026, and the most excellent Jaime Rivera is here with me all the way from Los Angeles. Hi, Jaime. How's it going?
Right back at you. Most excellent is you. Hello.
Oh, thank you. I haven't had you on the show in a while, so I'm really happy you made it. And you made it on a relatively eventful week. We have new Pixels to talk about.
I know.
And OMG, so much to say. As you know, I'm a big Pixel fan, but I'm also Stockholm Syndrome about it. It's like I can't get away from the Pixel. I have so many mixed feelings today.
Wait. What is Stockholm Syndrome? Teach me
It's
something
when
new.
you like your captors. You get kidnapped, but your captors treat you well, and and you're like, this is okay.
This is better than where I was.
This is better than than when I was at home with, my parents or whatever, right? Like that's, and it happened because I know in the 70s when there were lots of kidnappings in Europe, apparently in Stockholm, somebody got kidnapped, some executive's daughter or something, and she actually sided with the captors. She joined them. Yeah, she became. Wow. Yeah.
So the Pixel has captured you since when?
Oh, look, I started with Nexus 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have used every Nexus and every Pixel as my main phone since. I did take some detours. I was on OnePlus 7 Pro for a bit, or was it? Yeah, the one with the pop-up camera. And then I was
OnePlus
on
7 Pro, yes.
Maybe it was a McLaren edition. I don't remember. One of those two.
Yeah.
And then I was on an Oppo phone for a while. I think I was on the I want to say Find X5. I mean, just before they really got exciting. And honestly, I'm a big fan of the X series and the N series as well. But the reason I have not switched, honestly, this is let's be clear here. ColorOS, Oxygen OS, Realme UI, which are the same and are merging. And, we've already talked about OnePlus disappearing in the West to death on the show. But all of this, that would be my number one pick in terms of hardware. Oppo is my muse.
I have to agree.
But I miss all the Pixel features.
Mm-hmm.
I miss the all the call stuff. Even though I don't do a lot of calls, as a journalist, I do get cold calls and stuff. And it's really nice. And also now playing all that stuff that's so nicely integrated. Narav we argue about it all the time, and he doesn't get it. And I'm like, it's like, I don't get why you're so obsessed with Samsung, Narav, right? It's like you get obsessed, you get familiar, and that's why I can't leave Pixel. And that's why I want a folding phone. And I'm curious because I don't have the Fold and you have the Fold.
I have the Fold. It is right here.
Oh, he's showing it Patreons. For those of you watching the video version. Ooh. All right.
I have so many thoughts about this, but
before we dive in,
yes.
Let's do a kind of a recap of the whole Pixel. I have, just so people know, they sent me an XL, which is the big Pro, and then the smaller
right.
11.
They gave me the Pro, the regular, and the Fold, and the Watch.
So you have identical sized 11s and Pros right now.
Pretty much. I'm waiting for them to ship the Pro XL.
And I'm waiting for them to ship me the Fold.
Actually, I have a box downstairs. I wonder if that is the phone. I'll have to check it out later.
And also, I got a watch, but it's the wrong size, 41, so it's too small. So I'm trying to get them to send me a 45 because my wrists are gigantic. I'm wearing this is my Watch 4 right now, if you're watching my video.
Yeah.
And this is perfect size. It's the 45.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, so there's also the event. There's also so much so you did a hands-on in New York because you were there. Yeah. I was invited, but they wouldn't fly me out, so I'm not going to spend money on that.
No.
What are your thoughts overall? This is very incremental to me.
I think, here's the thing. I think we're at a point where companies, the current state of memory, chips, everything that's going on is putting companies in a position where they are having to figure themselves out beyond just hardware improvements. If hardware starts getting more expensive because of the necessity of components, you got to get more creative with software. Google has been down that road for 2 years already, since Pixel 9.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for those people that hate it. I like it. I love that Pixel 9 design ever since day one. For me, this is the company's motif. it should remain. Like Samsung has the vertical camera bar, and I love when we met Huey Lee at the design studio in Korea, where he expressed that was the motif, the vertical camera bar, which is the reason your phones rock so crazily when they're Samsung. But it
Yep.
is what it is. They've decided that that's the motif. Apple has the triangular cameras, and Google has the horizontal camera bar, which started with the Galaxy S10, and we loved. So we're in this position right now where, I think that, like, I mean, let's just say the hands-on previews were good, the demos were good, but these are mostly software increments. Like I've got people crazy in the comments being like, "That's a 2 nanometer chip." I'm like, "No, it's 3 nanometer. If it were 2, trust me, Google would have made a big deal out of it. It is 3 nanometers.
It's three.
It's an N3P node." Which, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, Tensor G5 was also an
Oh
N3.
yeah, yeah.
It
No, this
was
is
it's pretty much the same chip, just with
apparently
some.
there's CPU improvements and efficiency improvements, and then
And
the GPU is crap, and then the NPU is optimized. For those of you listening, I'm doing air quotes. Optimized for Gemini. Get a Snapdragon in there, Google. Let's stop effing around. Like, what is going on here?
can I just say something? I
Yes.
mean, yesterday I was at the hotel. I was
Yeah.
talking to some people. I grabbed my 11 Pro Fold, and I'm like, just get me an Uber to LaGuardia Terminal B. If I had to do the comparison over how long that would take me on one of the new Samsung phones and this Pixel, the Pixel was faster.
Oh yeah, look, I'm on board on the software, the feature. To me, okay, I want to actually not even say the word software. The reason I'm Stockholm syndrome and a Pixel user is the experience.
The experience.
I don't care about the AI. Like I mean, it's a part of the tool set. Like I understand that. I'm not anti-AI. I'm just saying it's not about AI. I hate that they keep talking about, like, our journalist friends keep talking about how Google is all about. No, it's not. It's about the experience. And Gemini and AI and the software and the now playing and all that all that stuff is the experience. And to me,
so you're saying the combination of everything,
the whole package.
It's not just the AI, is what you mean.
That's what I'm saying. The AI is a big part of it, but I'm just saying, like, and that's what people are not getting, I think. And you don't get that until you live with a Pixel for a few weeks, few months, in fact, I would argue. And I agree that Samsung, every ecosystem, Apple's ecosystem, Samsung's ecosystem, if you're all in, are going to give you these delightful experiences because they're vertically integrated. The problem with Samsung, in my opinion, and by the way, as an aside, my review of the Z Fold 8 and Z Fold 8 Ultra are up on hothardware.com, so go check them out. Mm-hmm. I love the hardware, but I'm not invested enough in that vertical ecosystem to make it matter, especially when everything in Samsung's vertical ecosystem is a variation on a Google thing, right? So go to the source. Pixel is the source. Like
it is a variation. You have to. Here's the thing. We were talking about that with Joshua Vergara yesterday. It's like, it's crazy how Google had to launch the Nexus 1. And you remember that presentation when they were like, this is the real Android.
Yeah.
Why? Because Android was so bad before that you needed a custom launcher. Like, you needed HTC Sense or TouchWiz at the time. Yeah. And so all these UIs were born out of necessity, and they considered themselves a way to differentiate the experience of the product, to take control of the product itself. So they were born with the right purpose. The problem is that, if we're honest, I mean, Google's approach, why? I'll give you the perfect example. I love the Galaxy Z Fold 8. You know what I hate? I hate the watch. I've wanted to love this watch because the old Tizen ones, I adored those Galaxy watches. Those are the Galaxy Watch 4 for me is the most beautiful watch, the most beautiful smartwatch I've ever seen to this day.
Some Huawei Wear OS watches were up there for me, actually, to be honest.
Oh, I remember there was this one that was like a titanium color. You remember that one?
I had that one, and I wore that one for 3 or 4 years to the point where the OLED burnt out because I never changed the watch face. Like, you could see it was dimmer where the watch face was.
So my dad ended up using that watch up until I replaced it with a OnePlus Watch 3, I believe.
Yeah.
Or the 2. He adores it, but he loved that watch. But the point is, I think that sometimes there are so many things that aren't broken and don't need to be fixed. One of them is the watch interface. like I feel that Wear OS on the Pixel Watch is like the watch vibrates, you raise your wrist, you get your notification, whatever it is.
It's perfect.
Try to do that with a Samsung watch. Any Galaxy watch. It doesn't matter if it's a new one or an old one. Doesn't matter what they've done. You get a vibration, you raise your wrist, and then you have to wait and wait and wait. And then sometimes you don't get the notification at all. Or sometimes you start noticing that this like little sun starts drawing itself. And I am like, what the F is this?
So this is happening with the Watch Ultra 2 as well?
This is happening with Watch
It's still slow despite having a better
2.
processor than the Watch 5 they just announced?
It is
from Pixel?
It is nerve-wracking because
I don't have the new Ultra yet. It's coming.
Here's the thing. Samsung Health is amazing. I love all the things that they've brought in, like
it's
all
good.
the thought. It is really good, extremely good, but the watch experience is not. And so I use Samsung Health with the Galaxy Ring just because I don't have to deal with the software. Whereas Pixel Watch is a completely different animal, and
I like it a lot.
And this is very close to your heart because it brings all the Pebble elements from the past.
Yep.
The mentality of just in time, just give me what you're showing me, just do your job, just get the fitness right as well.
And also, they now have the health coach, which I think it's hallucinating a little bit for me, but it's getting there. It's pretty solid.
It's been amazing for me. But then we've veered off a little. But then going back to just the Pixel experience in itself, it is that. It's not necessarily doing less. It actually does more than most phones or most watches. And yet the execution is on time, on point. It just works. My Pixel 11 Pro Fold is still a little buggy for some reason. I think it's missing a software update.
I mean, that's why I'm waiting to update my personal right now Pixel 10 Pro XL to 17. I'm going to wait a few more weeks, like till the end of the month, because, iron out some of the bugs. And then I will eventually switch to the 11 Pro XL, but I don't want to do that right away. I want to kind of experience it, set up Virgin. Like I set up from a very basic backup that has just my minimal apps, like not all, because my personal phone has all my banking and my car apps and all that crazy stuff, and it's just I want to kind of experience like the kind of pure experience for the week that I'm be reviewing, because we have a deadline, as you know.
We do.
So the phones so far, like I want to show them while maybe you tell us about them a little bit. What's new on? I'm showing the Pixel 11 here, the base model.
Yeah.
What's new with that one?
So we have no highlight. We have a new primary sensor on the primary
for the
camera
main sensor, and it's pretty good. By the way, SIM tray on my Canadian model here.
Can I express my loving hatred or?
It's really weird because you guys, I'm also based in the US part-time, but we also get millimeter wave in the US, which you don't have on this phone. So like the compromise is that my phone that I'm holding right now has all the 5G bands for the US market.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. But who cares about millimeter wave? So this is the best of both worlds, because you get a SIM tray and you still get all the bands you need.
So here's the thing. Let me ask you this. Even if you have millimeter wave, do you really have millimeter wave?
Well, that's my point. You don't use it. It's never.
It's been 10 years.
I'd rather have a SIM tray and forego millimeter wave. Anyway, so better camera sensor, G6 chip.
So we have a better primary sensor. There is tuning. I forget what is it that change on the telephoto, but there is a change on the telephoto.
Okay.
I think they swapped the sensor on the telephoto, even if it's the same size die. Probably one of the most surprising things is how they reduced the camera bar width.
Yeah, it's much thinner. Check it out, folks.
It's if you put a case on this thing, it ends up being flush.
I mean, you have to use their cases, right?
Yeah.
But as you can see, folks, this is identical to last year's in terms of the placements of even the antenna bands, the microphones, the speakers, the controls here.
Obviously, the camera bar is now all glass, so
and that's nice too.
A bigger sheet of something to break.
And matte rails and glossy back, like the regular Pixels have always been. Because the Pros have always been the reverse. But there's changes this year about that. By the way, Jaime, just want to let the audience know, if you're just joining Jaime here because it's your first time listening to the podcast, there is a video version on Patreon. It's $5 a month every week, and you get it a day in advance with extra content and show and tell, and so consider helping me out on Patreon, patreon.com/TNKGRL.
You get to see us smile. You get to see us.
That's right. Smile and sometimes unbox things when FedEx shows up randomly and stuff. Anyway.
Oh, man.
So what else is new? Brighter screen, I think, slightly, right?
Slightly brighter, Tensor G6, but probably the most important part is double the storage. Double the storage.
Right.
Oh,
so $100 more, but it's not really $100 more because it's double the storage. You start with 256 or 128, which I think is really, really the way it should be.
So here's the thing. Like, if you were to see my setup of the 11 Pro Fold, just my apps, like apps have gotten so complex over time that just my apps are like 70 gigs and I don't even have any games on it. Like, it is crazy how much apps have grown in scale. And so, like, even 256 gigs is already, I'm not saying it's coming up short, but every phone should have it. Like, if you're still stuck on a 128 gig phone, just try to sell that thing. Just try to get at least 256. It's the minimum you could live with right now.
Also, MediaTek M90 5G modem now.
Yes.
Which should really be a big improvement.
I didn't get that press release until like right after I did the content capture. I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have mentioned this because listen, obviously we can't talk about the full experience of testing these phones yet until a week from now. But I'll tell you this much. I have a sweet spot in my heart for MediaTek.
Same.
Because man, those modems on all the Motorola phones are crazy good. They are crazy good from the company that pretty much invented the modem to a certain degree. Yeah. I mean, like, what is it? Which Razer is it that has
the base one?
But that's a Motorola chip. But then I think all three of them have Motorola modems.
You mean MediaTek?
Sorry, MediaTek modems. I think I could be mistaken.
No, so the Snapdragon ones don't have They're Snapdragon. They're Qualcomm modems, right? So the only one that has the only Razer right now that has MediaTek chip and MediaTek modem is the base Razer, and then all the other ones are Qualcomm.
So I brought that phone. I brought that phone to the World Cup, out of all places.
But the Moto Edge that we just got in the US like a few weeks back also has that same MediaTek chip and MediaTek modem, and it's really solid.
I love that phone, by the way, that design. But going back, like I brought the special edition like Motorola World Cup phone. I brought that. I forget what Galaxy I was bringing. I think I brought the S24, the S26 Ultra to the event, plus that phone, plus the Razer Ultra. Sorry, I forget what's the name of the Razer Fold. I would say the MediaTek modem was handling the stress so much better, and I was on the Verizon network at the time.
Oh, interesting.
I
don't get to play on Verizon very much, especially not with MediaTek modems, because most of my MediaTek modems are on Chinese phones, and I end up putting a T-Mobile or AT&T SIM in the SIM tray. I'm just showing the display. So as you can see, I'm in a very bright room right now, literally facing a window.
No, the screen is good.
It's really nice.
Again, we can't give full impressions yet, but listen, from my hands-on experience, like there were a couple of areas where you could test just how bright the screen got. You could you can obviously see the palette of colors and they did a couple of demos, and I like my experience during the testing phase in that demo area was really good.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most important things that Google has been doing, I would say, since Pixel 9 is they have been doing everything in live demos during the event. Nothing is a recording. Everything is actually happening. And I have seen some demos crash at the Pixel 9 event. In this Made by Google event, nothing crashed. Everything was happening right there. Like I could see the phones connected to the wire that was projecting on the screen.
Yeah, no, they had them wired, which is smart.
Yeah. And so that other test that they did at Brooklyn, that was also happening live. Like, so I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I wish I could tell you more, but from those 2 days, like, that was okay.
This
I'm
is
intrigued.
a good reason to stay tuned for next week's show. Folks,
oh yeah,
because we'll have all the deets. But let's switch over to the Pro. Now, I would have preferred the coral color. This is the XL, folks. By the way, I have to say though, in person, I'm not big on black phones, but this matte black, and as you can see, it might look a little greenish to you. I'll try to color correct, but it's actually quite black.
It is very stealthy.
It's very nice, and again, SIM tray here on this Canadian model.
Yeah.
The bump is obviously thicker. Tell us what's new about this phone, Jaime.
Okay, so here's the thing. I ended up picking that obsidian color for the Fold, assuming that it was just as matte as the Pro, and it's not.
No.
Like the obsidian on the Fold is actually glossy on the hinge. It's this like gloss on the hinge, and then it goes matte on the other. But then, yeah, going back to the Pros, you have a much larger primary sensor. Finally,
yeah,
you have a much larger primary sensor. I do believe the telephoto. Was it the telephoto?
Yeah, the telephoto got an upgrade as well. It's also bigger.
It's also bigger. You also have the new highlight feature, which
so it's this little LED thing here.
So it's actually a ring that's around the LED in a way, and so it looks like if everything is lighting up, but it's really just the borders, and it just bleeds within the pixels within. Here's the thing. How do you feel about this? Because while I like the thoughtfulness of it, I'm like, why not just nobody puts their phones down anymore. But do you remember the LED indicators that we had in the top of our phones back in the day near the speaker? Just give me that.
So let's go back to the conversation that I had about Stockholm Syndrome earlier. See, this is the problem that I have with Google. Google screws things up all the time. Like, they had the right idea. They have some people back there, they're like, let's do this. It's cool. Like, let's put a notification light. Okay, I agree with you. I'm not sure the back is the right place for it. But like, hey, let's bring back the notification light. And then they completely messed it up. Because right now, the only thing that notification light can do is Gemini animations. When you talk to Gemini, there's a little pulsing thing, whatever it is. And then you can assign to only your favorites, you can assign a color. It's only 8 colors or 6 or 7 colors. And then when your phone rings, the light, or you miss a call or whatever. But it doesn't do messages. It doesn't let you assign anything. So think back. I know like some of you who are young and are going, oh, this is so cool, notification light. There was a time back in the day of BlackBerry, Nokia, HTC,
Motorola,
everyone, Samsung, where every phone had a notification light. Apple never did, though, but for that me, light would be assignable. You could tell different apps to do different light. You could tell notifications for different people to do different colors. And, it's RGB, so you have like thousands of colors to show. Google does not want to do any of that. And it's like, why?
Miriam, do you remember the Motorola StarTech? That was the first phone that I remember with a notification LED, which what it would do, bear in mind, this is the 90s. What it would do is just that flash that you had signal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remember that was like such a like how do you call it when you're showing off, like this is like, look at me, I'm not broke.
I've got the phone and I've got the signal. And same with Bluetooth. Remember early Bluetooth, the blue light would flash, telling you have a connection to your connected.
If you didn't have a signal, it would turn red. And then if you would get a call, it would do the red and green.
Yeah, that's right.
Or if you would get a...
and here we've gotten back to that. Remember the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro had the LED strips on the on the little... Yeah?
Yes.
So, and you could make them flash. Anyway, so I'm all for the lights coming back. I mean, Nothing, right? Nothing, the company is definitely the poster child for this.
Of course.
So, but why did Google give us this? And it's completely useless right now to me. Like,
it's not just that it's completely useless. I just think, like, do you put your phone face down?
No, never.
I never do, and I never do because I don't use a case. And so because I don't use a case,
even when I use case.
I have scratched the screen of my phone by putting it face down. So I will always put it. So for me, obviously, the always on display is always doing the thing where if I get a notification, it'll pop and it'll just give me an icon. I think Motorola does a better job at it, the way they do it, the way they handle the always on display. But yeah, if you would just give me a little notification light next to the speaker grill, as it used to be, that would be amazing. Or use both. I mean, or just put it in a place where it doesn't matter how you put the phone, it'll always work.
Like Clicks Communicator.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm not chilling, right? Like, I'm really looking forward to that phone, and I'm not a keyboard user. Like, as I mentioned last week's show, I have the Clicks Power Keys, and I type way faster on glass. This is not for me, but I respect what they're doing, and
I
I'm
do
very
too.
curious to see what Click's communicator ends up being like. And this is a prime example of them thinking it through, unlike Google, right?
I agree. And here's the thing. I do, if you listen to Rick Osterloh's delivery during the keynote, it gave me Windows Phone 8 vibes. Or was it Windows Phone 7 series during the launch? You remember the ads were all about this. We need a phone that separates us from our phones.
Yeah.
The whole premise at the beginning during that launch was the anti-smartphone, the phone that would, and so all the ads were of a kid that was trying to play with their parent, and their parent was on the phone, or the wife that was dressed in lingerie and the guy was on his phone, and then she would throw the pillow at him. It's like, be more present. That is the whole premise.
And look,
I
it hasn't
I
changed,
don't
has it? It's been what, 15 years?
I don't think that notification light is the solution to it.
No.
I do think that the agentic Gemini features can achieve some of that. If you can
Of course.
remove the rudimentary, again, I need to order an Uber, and I if I can just say it to my earbuds and have my phone request it, and then just wait for my feedback to confirm the order, that for me is 10 times better than a notification LED.
Yeah, like the Uber example you gave. And you know, I think for me, what's keeping me hopeful about this Highlight, by the way, Pixel Glow was a way better branding in my opinion. Highlight, what the F? Okay, aside from that, the good news is this is all software, folks, right? So Google could actually get their together and do it right. So hopefully, if you're listening, Google, that's one thing.
This sounds almost like, if you remember, what is it that we had? We had radar on the Pixel 4. We had give me another gimmick. Yeah, give me another gimmick. It would be, we had the thermometer on Pixel 8. Nobody
and
used
9
it.
and 10
and 10. Nobody used that.
No. I mean, I'm sure there are a few moms out there who did with their kids, because apparently that was a thing.
You just get a thermometer.
But look, you can get a thermometer.
It's one of those things where it's like, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. It's just, it becomes forgettable because it's not something you would consider using your phone for, I guess, is the best way to put it. Like, for that, give me that on my smartwatch, if anything. And now you have it. Smartwatches have thermometer sensors.
Look, the other thing about this phone that we have to talk about that I think is, you know, I want to be clear. These phones there's nothing wrong with the phones. The hardware is solid. Ever since, I would say, Pixel 9 series, Google has nailed the hardware in terms of like industrial design, quality build, materials, water resistance, all that. The big issue here is, to me, the debatables are the chip, and not the modem anymore, but the chip, and we can talk about that. The other debatable is, like, and this is applying to the whole industry right now, is pricing and memory configs, right? Let's talk about the fact that the base Pixel Pro now, this guy, the XL at least, has 12 gigs instead of 16 last year for the 256 model, whereas you have to go to 512 to get 16 gigs. That hurts, because the future will require more RAM, and they're going to support and make parts available for these phones for 7 years. Poop, right? So, like, it doesn't bother me personally, because they sent me a 512 anyway, but...
Yeah, they sent me a 512 as well. But here's the thing. You know, I was about to debate you on this, and I am not going to debate you anymore because of everything that's happening with Apple. Like, think about Apple Intelligence, you know, the first 2 years of Apple Intelligence, and they're like 8 gigs of RAM. And so if you had an M1 with 8 gigs of RAM, you're fine. And now we've come to the point where, now that they've adopted all the, you know, Gemini as the way to teach their backend for Apple Intelligence, these features are freaking awesome. But yeah, if you don't have a 12 gigabyte of RAM product, you're cooked. And so pretty much, if you're on an M2, even an M2, like, you're not going to get all the features. I even think an M3 would start at 8 gigs of RAM, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But I think it's M4 is the first one, or even M4 iPads are still starting at 8 gigs, I believe. It's the M5 is the first one. And so you're in a position where, yeah, if you don't have the A19, is that A19 Pro?
A19 or A19 Pro had 12 gigs. Yeah.
Yeah, M5. Like there, it's not like what you're not getting is like the version of Siri that's going to give you like full natural speech. For now, that's the only difference. But obviously, over time, that's going to only get more complicated. And so,
yeah, in 7 years, that's my point, right? I'm not against the initial, like, I understand the inflation, the price of the RAM apocalypse, but it hurts that the base Pixel 11, this guy here, came with now, it's the same price for the same storage tier, right, as last year. Like, you start one storage tier higher, so it's $100 more, but it's the same price at that storage tier. Whereas this guy, the same price, but you get less RAM.
Yeah, this is where Apple really nailed that iPhone 17, where it's like base model 256, same price.
Actually, wait, am I wrong? I think it's actually not. It's $100 more with less RAM and the same amount of storage.
It's $100 more
for the Pro.
For the Pro, yes, you're right.
So it's even worse. You get
it's worse.
To pay $100 more, you get the same tier storage, 256, and you get 12 gigs. Or you pay even more and you get 512 and you get 16 gigs. Ouch.
So the reason I was going to debate you is because at this moment, right now, there is no difference in what the 12 gigs of RAM model can do than the 16 gig of RAM model. So right now, I was going to disagree with you because at this moment, and I guess during the next year, both phones are fine. Like, yes, it is a downgrade with a more expensive price point, but Google has optimized the software to the point where it doesn't matter which one you get.
Yeah.
There is no difference. Whereas, will this happen in the future? I have no idea. That is a good question. Like,
so
what's going to happen?
Me like a psychological thing, right? Where it's like last year's based 256 gig Pixel 10 Pro XL had 16 gigs. It should not go down from there. The price can go up. I'm okay with that because I understand how the economy works. It sucks. Mm-hmm. But do not lower the amount of RAM. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what are you doing?
Well, but it's
only
the same
on one model. It's the worst.
But if you remember, OnePlus RIP was the first company to do that, where it's like they would give you like a really, they would tell you, yes, this phone is what, $699, $599. But that base model was like really botched down. It was slower storage.
But from year to year, they always at least equal or up. This is year to year down.
Yes,
that's what hurts me. That's
but
emotional.
Again, in Google's defense, right now, you're fine.
Yeah.
If you were, it doesn't matter which model you get, you're fine. Would I get the 512 gigs? Yes, I would.
Absolutely. For the reason you said, the apps, the storage for photos and videos.
If you're a person that holds on to their phone for more than 3 years, yes.
Oh yeah.
I wish I could sit here and tell you that the AI is a gimmick and it doesn't really matter which one you buy. I'm sorry, but it's not. In these phones in particular, it's not. This is not a forgettable feature, just the agentic part. If my phone is going to be able to start doing real tasks for me, F yeah. Like that's what I want. That's the dream. This is the true Google Assistant as it was dreamt of 10 years ago. With the first Pixel, if you remember that, when they announced that this was the phone to get it with. And yeah, I mean, it turned out to be another Siri, even if people wanted to make it sound a lot better, it wasn't. No, these updates to Gemini are really good. And then, okay, another change that people, again, I'm just speaking from my comments. Like my comments have been all over the place. One of them that I hadn't really noticed during the hands-on was, yes, you only get 6 months of AI Pro now. You don't get the full year.
Wow.
You don't get the full year. And listen.
But I thought in the announcement in the keynote, they said 3 months.
No, 6 months.
Okay.
It could vary. I could be wrong, but from what I remember, it's 6 months. But here's the thing. My wife has been using AI Pro.
Uh-huh.
She tested the regular version of Gemini without AI Pro on Workspace, which is, for some reason, I had this conversation with Google. I'm like, why is Google Workspace behind? And why is it that, or sometimes it's ahead, but then you have to go through your domain provider to be able to pay for the difference. And the domain provider gets a cut. And it's just this nightmare. Like, why can't, if I'm on Workspace, why can't I just pay regardless of where my account comes from? But That's a story for another video. The point is, she's been testing AI Pro, and she is like, it is night and day. Like everything that I could ask AI Pro to do is night and day. Like she has reached the caps of the base Gemini every single day until I upgraded her.
Nice.
Until I
it's a good
upgraded
sign.
her.
It's a good sign.
It is a good sign. Like in her case, she's like, listen, the amount of data, like she just got hired in a company, and they've needed to organize like a business for a bit. Like, and so she's coming in to be able to do this. And Gemini has just been crucial. Like what I've been used to doing in Microsoft Excel, pivot charts, all these things that I used to do with business development 20 years ago. Listen, to just tell Gemini, like, I need this, I need that, like, it'll create the pivots. It'll do it'll do the things that most people that didn't understand pivot charts in Excel or macros would take days to do, which I learned how to do in hours. This freaking thing does it in seconds, Miriam. I'm like, oh my God. Like, and so
it's
I am
cool.
I am all for these kinds of changes. I struggle with things like generative AI, with
of course we all do,
image generation or content creation. I struggle with that part. That could be a story for another video as well. but just to be able to remove the necessity, like for example, she's like, I need a project management template. And it just built it on Google Sheets in ways that I didn't know you could do these things with Google Sheets, because it's always been behind Excel. And nope, it has a way to do it. But only Gemini knows exactly how to tinker into everything that Google Sheets can do.
Yep.
So
it's amazing.
It is. And so if like, I do think that those 6 months, I do think that year was a useful perk that you are also losing with these phones. Sadly.
Right. I see your point. Yeah. I have Pro, whatever. I have the better tier as well, but only because Google gave it to me for free as a journalist for, I don't know for how long.
I just started paying for it. So,
so I have no idea. We'll find out when it ends, and then I'll be crying in a corner of my room or something. I don't know.
And listen, a lot of people, like my barber, for example, ended up buying his car using ChatGPT, the paid version. Just the way ChatGPT guided him into how to negotiate buying the damn car
cool.
It's hilarious, but he saved $7,000 in the process. It was that useful. But then I was like, okay, wait, so you're paying this for ChatGPT, and all you're getting is ChatGPT. We're on Gemini AI Pro, you're getting 5 terabytes of storage. You're getting obviously Gemini AI, the Pro version, so the better models. But you're also getting Google
Health Coach, right?
You're getting Health Coach on the watch. And you're also getting Google Home Premium, which I use in my cameras,
right. And I use it too. Yeah.
And it is just the coolest thing to come into to the app and be like, at what time did FedEx arrive to drop a package? And it'll just give me all the clips on all the cameras of when it happened. Like these kinds of things. I'm sorry, but these are time savers. Like I don't have time to start scrolling through my feed trying to find where the FedEx guy arrived and what he did with my package. I think it's genius.
It's great. Let's talk about the Fold real quick. But before we do, I want to really get your temperature for, I did not, to be fair, I've only watched a summary, but that event. Last year it was Jimmy Fallon, and us media that are tech media, we're kind of like up in arms because we're like,
were you there?
What is this? Like no, I wasn't there, but I watched the whole thing. There. Look, I'm not against the idea of having like a talk show, basically, right? Mm-hmm. And make it more accessible so that it's a marketing exercise. I totally get that. But I don't know. And I mean, this was actually, I think this was a better host in my opinion in some ways. But
I am a huge fan of Jimmy Fallon.
Me too.
Ever since Saturday Night Live. But here's the thing. I think Trevor nailed it. Like,
Trevor Noah that's my point. I think he's better at this. Yet overall, the whole vibe is just like, it's just so weird. Like, especially when they have like applause signs in the audience.
Okay, so they removed that. None of that existed. Okay. No, the applause you heard were genuine applause.
Okay, good.
Like, and it wasn't really a big crowd. Like it was a very exclusive group of people that were invited. Because
I know.
The
A
venue
lot of
wasn't
us didn't
necessary.
get invites. We
Yeah,
just got
yeah.
invites to the party in the evening.
the
Yeah.
the venue wasn't really massive, and yet those of us that were there clapping were genuinely clapping. There were no applause signs. Yeah, I did, I read the tweets from last year. I sadly couldn't participate because I already had something else to do. But I felt bad not being able to be there last year because I really wanted to see Fallon live.
Well, right.
I've never been to the Tonight Show. I would love to go to the Tonight Show. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. When you go to a sitcom recording or when you go to a talk show recording, this is how it
Oh no,
is.
I know, I get
Like,
that, but that's not what this is. And this is why I'm like, okay, I'm not sure I like this direction. Like some people arguing in our group, right, of journalists, our creators, that yeah, look, the marketing speaks for itself. Like Pixel is popular, more popular. I mean, slightly more popular than it was. And I'm like, I'm
yeah,
not sure it's because they did this 1 hour event that they streamed on video. Like, I don't think that's the reason. I think it's maybe because the
I dis-
carriers are paying attention
I
finally or something.
disagree.
You
I
disagree?
disagree. Listen, I don't have to tell you about the power of television and the power of having a presenter or a host gain popularity in the world. Like
No, that matters for sure.
how many TV hosts have become presidents of different countries?
Yep.
I'm just putting it out there.
Yep.
The power of television is strong. And listen, you and I have asked ourselves this question. What is it that Google needs to do to get these phones on more hands? Why is it that these are some of the best phones that people can buy and people don't buy them? And I feel like I have to give it to Apple. Apple has really understood their audience. Apple makes products for nerds, but doesn't make products, but their marketing is not for nerds. Their marketing is enable people to do things, and it's average people. And so Apple has always aligned itself with, celebrities and just lifestyle, and it is a big deal. I do think, listen, I think it's working. I think having Fallon, probably the approach from Fallon and trying to make it like a talk show was a bit complicated because we in the audience, I wasn't there, but we in the audience are not used to that. We in the audience are used to going into a regular phone presentation. And
Yeah,
even
no,
like
I get all that. I get
and
all
you've been to Chinese presentations. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
you've seen how they bring the phone from the bottom of like the floor, and then all the journalists go like crazy to take photos of them. Like there are idiosyncrasies in the way events happen in China. There are
I think
idiosyncrasies.
my issue with this is that, like you said, Apple nails this stuff.
Yeah.
And the kind of the idea is sound. Like, I think you're right. We should market to a broader audience than just us.
They have to.
And having the celebrity is definitely a good thing. The problem is that it feels forced. Like Apple makes it seamless. You watch the presentation, you're like, whether you're a nerd or an average person, you're like, yep, this works. I feel entertained. It flows. The pace is right. With Google, it's still not even remotely there. Samsung, not remotely there. The Chinese, not remotely there. And I'm like, how can you guys not learn from Apple?
Well, but here's the thing. Apple, I feel, in my opinion, learned from Motorola. Motorola was the first company to create a product that was just sexy. And they had sexy marketing appeal. And they followed it. And
Paris Hilton.
Now and through a certain period of time, but yes, they did it and it worked. Like think about how popular the Razor was in the mid 2000s.
But even today, Moto's presentation is still not quite as seamless as Apple. You know what I'm saying?
It's not the same. It's not the same. Like, listen, whoever they had in charge of marketing back then in Moto it's just like, no, those people deserve to live in some yacht and some like beautiful house in the Hamptons. Like they nailed it. They nailed sex appeal. Yeah. And so, listen, I think that Apple has done the same with the iPod, with their Think Different campaign, with the iPhone. Like just everything that they've done has been so well tuned for the masses. Again, they create a product for nerds, but don't market it that way.
Yeah.
And they've turned technology into mainstream. And I feel that the only way that you can take these pixels to the mainstream is this way. Like that being said, was the Fallon presentation, I did hear some back and forths. I've seen the tweets, because I'm not going to call it any other thing. I've seen the tweets, and yes, people were like, yeah, the applause sign, they remove all these things. This event with Trevor Noah was,
I think
like,
Trevor
the thing
Noah
is,
is better.
I love Trevor. Like, Trevor is
No, he's
so
good.
down to earth. He's not trying to be funny. He just is funny. This is this, it wasn't scripted, of course. Like, you need your bullet points. They need to know. But like if Trevor, like, I saw the teleprompter, but I did not see Trevor reading. I think that was just playing for him to be able to remain on cadence or whatever, because he was not reading. Just, he was not acting. Like, it was so natural. He was truly being a kid in the event, just like the rest of us, asking the right questions. And probably these were just cues for him to know what to say, but he was a natural. I loved it. I genuinely loved the delivery. But that's my opinion. Everybody that I talked to after the event had good opinions about the event. And again, like, they had, oh my God, like my daughter was like, is that Pink Pantheress, the girl that was singing at the end? I had no idea who it was, but my daughter knew who she was.
Yeah.
Miriam, do you want Google to succeed? Because I do, and I know you do.
I do, but pulling it back into the devices, my big issue right now is like, you've got to get rid of Tensor. You got to get rid of Tensor. You got the MediaTek modem. Let's go MediaTek all the way, or let's go Qualcomm all the way, because the hardware is well made, beautiful designed, but it's hamstrung by the level of performance not matching. Like, the seamless feel of the device does not match the Galaxies we just reviewed, the folding phones, or the Oppo and OnePlus devices that are, in my opinion, the benchmark in terms of hardware. And that's only because of one thing. Because Tensor, and it's proven in benchmarks, and again, benchmarks don't matter to me at all. I don't even game. It's like, it just proves that there is not enough horsepower there to run things smoothly. And I don't know why they're so fixated when their watches are running Snapdragon chips.
They're running Snapdragon, and they're killing it. The watches are amazing.
So why not just bite the bullet, call it a day, go to MediaTek Dimensity 9600 for next year, or 8600, which will be out hopefully by then, or go Qualcomm all out. Like,
Miriam, have you experienced between the Find X9 Pro and the Ultra? I've noticed that the X9 Pro takes better photos with the MediaTek chip.
I don't know about the photos, but I definitely feel that the performance is smoother on the MediaTek chip myself. Yeah. At least on that version of the software for that optimized, platform.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think that if Tensor was an opportunity for Google to charge less money for the phones, do you think that's the other thing? You nailed it.
That's the other problem, right? They're selling these phones, especially with the RAM apocalypse and inflation right now, at the same price or more than a matching Galaxy in terms of specs, or a matching OnePlus. The OnePlus undercuts it, right? And of course, OnePlus is gone. But like in markets where Oppo and Xiaomi and exist, you're gonna have kind of price parity. Like the Pixels in the UK, have you seen the prices? Oof. Yeah. Yet the hardware is lesser. Like, absolutely isn't as good. Like, the chips throttle, they're not as smooth. The benchmarks show that they don't run as fast. Like, there is a bunch of issues here, and I don't understand how Google can have the balls to say, well, we're going to price this the same. Like, if they were $100 less than the competition, I'd be like, okay, I'm willing to live with a slightly inferior chipset because it doesn't affect me that much day to day. But
let me ask you this as a Pixel user, because that's the thing. I've heard people complain about overheating or throttling. I've never had that issue.
I mean, it's better now, but like, definitely, I think G5, G4 were
G5 definitely better than G5. I think the break with G4 needed to happen.
Yes.
G4 needed to die.
But before that, my God, G2, G3 was terrible. G1, forget it. And I understand that, they could catch, but they won't. That's the thing. Like, there's two players right now, MediaTek and Qualcomm. You're not going to beat them. Or three, because Apple, right? Apple has their, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Like, here's the thing. I understand Google wants to be vertically integrated. I get that. But they're not doing it on their watches, number one. And number two, and the experience is awesome. And number two, they are not going to be Apple ever. Apple has such a lead in chip design compared to anything Google can do. I'm not saying they have a lead compared to Qualcomm and MediaTek. That's arguable. But I'm just saying, like, go with a partner that can prove its worth, especially when you charge flagship money. That is my biggest gripe. Like right now, as a Stockholm syndrome Pixel user, and when I say I want better hardware, I'm not talking about the design. I'm not talking about the in-hand feel. I'm not talking about the beautiful looks of it and the way it's made. I'm literally just talking about give me guts, innards that match what the competition is bringing. You do it with the camera. The camera modules are solid. The optics are solid. The battery, or the other thing is the batteries. The batteries are smaller this year.
Or probably just pull a Samsung in the sense that you get the Exynos on the cheaper products, and then
put a
the
Tensor
flagships
on the A series, whatever.
Put a Tensor on the A series and the base model, and then the Pro should have Snapdragon, and they should have Snapdragon or MediaTek for one thing. For me, it's like, okay, I'm sorry. Like every single year, I have not tested the video enough, and even if I have, I can't say it right now. Every time that Google in a presentation says this is the best video on a phone, I'm like, no, not even close. Not even close. And so, like, yes, we were having this, like, I remember we did the previous, not the previous event, but the one before, where you had this option where you could enhance your video, but it would go up to the cloud, get processed, then
video
come back.
boost. Yeah.
Video boost. Oh my God. I remember waking up the next day and I didn't get my video boosted until the next day. So I'm like, there goes my story. I didn't publish it because I was waiting for the freaking video boost to work. So, and apparently even last year, I've never used it ever since. And I've heard that last year was the same thing. I haven't tried it yet. I'll keep you posted. But here's the thing, no log video. Why? I know that log video is a very niche thing. Here's the problem. If you're going to use the name Pro in your product, you really need to, like, okay, Pro in what? Like, what is it Pro
And this
for?
goes back to my Tensor thing. The Tensor is not a Pro chip.
Okay. So it's that. Like, what? When you tell me that a product is for, I'm sorry, I filmed the whole vlog with an iPhone 17 Pro Max in the MLS for this event that we did. And the video in log recorded on Blackmagic camera was perfect.
I know.
That being said, during the Pixel event, I saw it from a distance, and Google hasn't said anything. They filmed Pink Pantheress at the end with 4 Google Pixel strapped on gimbals. And the idea was that this was shot on Pixel. Guess what camera application they were using? They were using Blackmagic camera.
Like everyone.
The question is, was that Blackmagic camera filming in log? I hope, because again, the dynamic range on pixels is so bad, like from previous generations. I can't talk about this one yet, but in previous generations, the highlights were just completely blown out. Or if you were like in a dark scenario, everything that was on stage was dead. I'm sorry, I have to give it to Apple. Apple has owned that since the iPhone 4.
100%.
Owned it. And Samsung has barely caught up until now.
Exactly.
This year, 2026. 16 years later.
And Vivo's doing a good job right now too.
Oh my, no,
finally.
No. Mary, I'm sorry. Good job is not a good way to describe what Vivo has done. Vivo has been amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oppo in video has been amazing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
When you have those products in the market, you cannot call these phones pros unless they nail pro features.
Exactly.
And here's the thing. The whole Creator Studio suite, it's genius.
Let's talk about that really quickly. And then we should talk about the Fold, because I want to talk robot phone and we're running out of time. So the Creator suite is really cool because they have features like, first of all, you can now set kind of like, they're not filters, but they're like, camera film processes or moods or whatever you want to call them.
So that's camera looks. That's
the camera looks, but it's like, let's talk about the camera features. What I'm saying, like this is all software stuff, and I really like the fact that these looks also disable some of the processing, like noise reduction and multi-stack imaging, and that's good because you can then kind of get a more, maybe like old-timey
Yeah.
vibe on your digital output, or more contrast, more highlights, like not highlights, but like, basically overexposed areas like you would on a normal camera, if that's what you want. And I like that a lot.
But Apple's been doing picture profiles since
But they're not removing noise reduction, and they're just doing it as a filter. This is literally doing it.
No. It's a completely different image stack. Like, it's a completely different pipeline. That's the thing. Apple has done it in a way where it's almost like if the camera's shooting in RAW, even if they don't tell you it's shooting in RAW.
I thought that Pro RAW was like that, but I didn't know that the regular filters, whatever they're called,
to the point where you can swap them after the fact. And that's what I don't know if these Pixels do. I have to test that out. I haven't gotten to that point yet.
I don't think you can swap after the fact, because a lot of that stuff is done in the ISP, like the less multi-frame and less noise reduction. That's why I don't think Apple's doing that, because they're not able to go back and process in the ISP again.
I'm telling you, like, if you apply a picture profile, you can swap it later on an iPhone. You can.
Yeah, no, I believe you can swap it, but does it actually remove some of the multi-frame and the noise reduction? We don't know that.
That is a good question.
We need to figure that out. I believe that Google is the first to do this, like where it actually changes what's happening at capture time, and you can't change it after because it's at capture time.
Yeah, but you can't redo the moment again, and this is the reason why I like what Apple is doing, in the sense where
I think Apple's doing something that's easier to use, but I think in terms of like achieving the result that we camera nerds are looking for, I think Google's nailing it.
Well, we'll see, because I haven't tested it.
We don't know.
And for me, what's most important is, if I don't like this look, can I change it? Because you can't redo the moment. You have a Magic Capture, which is really cool.
That's really cool.
Like, I like this idea where here's the thing. How many times have we been in a concert and we've been like focused on what we're filming or photos that we're taking in the concert, and we can't pay attention because we're looking at our damn phones? And so I like this idea where it's just shooting like crazy, which smartphones had already been doing ever since Pixel invented this. It was already capturing 10 shots before you press the shutter. And then at some point when you press the shutter, it just froze that frame. So all they did was make it a feature, pretty much. It's pretty much filming a video and then stopping it, which Apple has been doing with that whole, I forget that thing where you're like live capture, where it's actually filming a video and then just freezing it. It's the same thing, but Google was the first company to do it, and they just called it something. But yeah, that creator suite is really cool because you get a teleprompter, you get to see your audio levels. So if you're using one of these,
that to me is like, those two things are like, wow.
If you're using a DJI mic, you'll see your audio levels. You'll see the teleprompting. Here's the one thing: if you're using one of the Pro Pixels, that selfie camera is so wide that it's perfect. It is perfect. I think that was the other camera.
We just need log video now. That's all.
We just need log video. But if you want me to talk about the Fold, I can tell you my.
So here's the thing. It's thinner, but it's not really that thin. 5mm open is not in the ballpark of what the Chinese or Samsung is doing. So you're not playing. No. You're not playing Google. You're not relevant.
Yes and no. Okay, so they pulled an Oppo in the sense that only one of the sides of the phones is thinner.
Yeah, but on the Oppo, it's minor. There, it's really noticeable.
It is really noticeable, but
can
you
show
magnets.
it right now? Can you get close to your camera just a second and show that?
Let me see.
Can you actually, if you open, there you see it really well. But if you open up the 11 right now, at the hinge, you can really see the difference.
You can see it at the hinge, yes. Hold on.
Yeah, look at that. The side on the left side here, it's much thinner than the right. And the much thinner part, you don't really notice on the Oppo as much, right?
No, you barely notice it unless you put your fingers on the screen. That's when I remember being in the hotel room and I'm like, oh, don't tell me. And then that's the moment when I close it and I'm like, oh my God, one side is thinner.
It is thinner. And that's nice, but it's still not remotely competitive in terms of thickness. Weight, but again, not super great.
Okay, here's the thing. I struggle with complaining about it for a couple of things. One is the magnets. It is the one, like,
that is very nice.
Here is my amazing Oppo Find N6 for anybody that's watching. Please join Patreon, but here's the case that I have to put on it. Here's the case that I have to put on it if I want magnets. If I want the
magnets,
if I want the pen and the magnets. And so I want you to see that the Oppo
Yeah.
ends up thicker just because I want my damn magnets.
Yeah.
It's just the coolest modularity feature ever.
But that's because you have the official Oppo case. If you get a case like this one with magnets, it's barely thicker than the phone.
Fine. You win.
So, you can do that. And look, like right now, this is still thinner with the case on. This is my Oppo Find N6. With this case on, it's like one of those Aramid, super thin Aramid cases. It's still thinner than the 11 Pro Fold. And that's my point. It's like, how are you not playing the game, Google? Like, you're not in the league of the best. And Samsung is finally in the league of the best.
Let me start spinning this out from the pros to the cons. Okay, pros is you get the magnets built in, which I love. Great. The second thing is this is actually, I would say that this is the only foldable that actually has a regular size smartphone screen. It's not slightly taller, not slightly slimmer. No, the thing is the same size as a Pixel 9
Yeah, it's 6.3 inch, 20 by 9 or whatever.
It is exactly the form factor. Those things are positive. Here's my problem. First of all, the cameras on the Pixel Fold are the primary and the ultra wide are literally the same as the base Pixel.
So it's not a pro camera system.
Wait for it. And then the telephoto is actually worse
than the 11.
Yep. And then the selfie camera is narrower. Like even the base Pixel has a wider field of view than the Pro Fold Pixel. And so I seriously think that when the 9 Pro Fold launched, if you remember, the name of that phone and rumors was also always Pixel Fold 2. Pixel Fold 2. There were prints, there were boxes that were leaked that show Pixel Fold 2. Last minute, somebody in marketing decided to call this the Pixel 9 Pro Fold at the time. The moment they strapped the Pro name on that phone, I'm like, no, you shouldn't have done this.
I agree.
Because once you're giving it, if you're going to call it this, it's my review of the Galaxy S, whatever Ultra every year is the same thing. Is this really an Ultra phone? And then you just pull
my God, we had an entire podcast about that where we bitched, Michael Fisher and me, about the Ultra name. The same with S26 Ultra, by the way. These are not Ultra phones. In fact, in my review, I said that the Z Fold 8 and Z Fold 8 Ultra are not even Pro phones. No. Like, don't get me wrong, they're really great phones, and I love the Z Fold 8 form factor, but they're not Pro because the camera systems are not Pro. And
I genuinely think
it's the same thing here.
I genuinely think if you're going to strap the name Pro to your phone, what is it Pro for? Like, is it Pro for photography? Cool. If it's Pro for productivity, cool.
Maybe but that's what they're going for.
That's what they're going for. But
then you have a Tensor G6. And then the batteries are smaller this year on all the Pixels, which is insane. It's like, okay, look, small rant. Samsung had the decency of putting silicon carbon batteries in their new folding phones. Mind you, it's probably 0.5% anode. Like, it's a tiny amount, but the battery life speaks for itself. Even though the capacity is not on paper competitive with the Chinese, kudos to Samsung.
They nailed it.
This is a travesty that Google, after we've asked them for years and told them they should put silicon carbon, is still giving us the finger about it, number one. And number two, reduce the size of the batteries a little bit. I'm sure battery life is fine because the G6 is a little more efficient, but come on.
Even Apple has larger batteries right now.
How is this Pro? Apple at least puts Pro on their phones, and their phones are Pro.
And they nail it. They freaking nail it. But okay,
Apple is the most honest naming of all of the phones out there, in my opinion.
Right. No, I have to agree with that. But here's the thing. Like, I think that aside from the topic of how much they've, is obviously we still need more time to confirm performance itself.
We don't know.
I would say the 10 series was good. But I'm going to say something right now at the Mobile Tech Podcast that I've probably never said, but I'm going to say. Because I'm sorry, I struggle with the comments where somebody somewhere wrote that silicon carbon batteries are terrible for longevity.
Oh, that's BS.
I'm
I wrote an
sorry.
entire article about this on Tom's Guide. You should guys read. Go to Tom's Guide. Look for my name.
I need to read this because I'm sorry. I have a bag of like recycled batteries, of like batteries that I need to go take to recycle that are all inflated. None of them are silicon carbon batteries, and they are all of products that came out at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't. Whoever, I just hate the fact that if somebody says it, people like run with it. Somebody said that Tensor G6 was 2 nanometer. Oh my God, there were so many articles calling out 2 nanometer that even Gemini got it wrong. If you were, because I actually complained to Google. I'm like, before I did my script, I reached out to them because they didn't say it in the presentation. I'm like, is it 2 or 3 nanometer? They confirmed. Before I recorded my script, I asked again. They double confirmed. Did my script, published my video. I get a million comments. And because there's so much content out there that said 2 nanometer, even Gemini was raking information that was saying 2 nanometer. So I complained. Yeah. I think that they did the corrections with Gemini, or at some point Gemini realized that it was wrong. I don't know what happened there. But I'm like, if one person says something, it's like if the entire world wants to run with it. And I'm like, come on. It's silicon carbon batteries are not worse batteries.
They're phenomenal. In fact,
there is no scientific proof that they are worse. There is none.
I interviewed the engineers from Honor and from Oppo/OnePlus about this.
Okay.
Read my story, Tom's Guide.
Oh, I have to.
And here's the thing. Not only that, but when you get a battery that's like 6,000, 7,000 milliamp hour, whether it's a folding phone or a regular bar phone, it's a high-end pro ultra phone, whatever, you not only do you want that to be state-of-the-art and you want the 80-watt charging and all that, great. But you're never using that entire battery capacity. You can set it to 80% max and you still get almost 2 days out of it, ending at 10%. And then you're charging 10 to 80. You never get full cycles. A cycle, guys, is to 100%. So if you never charge to 100%, your battery is going to last way longer. So even if on paper, silicon carbon batteries don't have as many cycles, you don't run out of cycles as often, number one. Number two, you're really taking care of that battery because you're not fully charging it half the time. You're just plugging into the charger occasionally when you need to top off. It's much better overall. Like you're going to get much better longevity. And on top of that, they charge faster. And on top of that, you get 2 days of battery life. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And I think Samsung gets it. And they're just being super cautious because Note 7, PTSD, all that.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Google needs to get on board. And Apple also needs to get on board. If that iPhone Ultra doesn't have a silicon carbon battery, even if it's just 0.5%, 1% anode, we have a problem because Apple...
I think
this is not going to be a big seller for Apple. I think it's going to be niche-ish compared to the other phones.
I think they have to because particularly I thought that the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max were exactly the same phone in different sizes. And they technically are with the exception of one thing. And that is vapor chamber cooling system.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, Miriam, I did a couple of events thinking that I could live with the Pro. Oh my God, like I was down to like 20% battery by like 2 p.m. because of everything that I was filming with the phone and log. Where if you use the Pro Max, it's not just that you have the larger battery, but that vapor chamber is doing a lot of legwork and keeping the phone cool.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference in battery longevity. And so you don't just need the silicon carbon battery itself, you also need to keep it cool somehow.
Yep.
Otherwise, and so silicon carbon has the benefit that you're going to save up space. So even if you don't give me more capacity, at least you can use a lesser footprint that will allow you to use a form of cooling.
Correct.
You definitely need that. I don't know if Oppo does that on their foldables. Do you know?
Not all foldables have vapor chambers, but definitely the bar phones all have it. Same with Samsung, right? The S26 Ultra has a vapor chamber. The Z Fold 8 and Z Fold 8 Ultra do not have a vapor chamber. They just have a regular, cooling sheet, like one of those carbon, ones. It's not an actual vapor chamber where stuff evaporates in there. Look, we should switch over to talk about quickly the robot phone. I think we've covered all the important Pixel stuff. I just want to say it's refreshing.
Have you seen it?
Well, I saw it at CS and then at MWC. So I haven't I did not get invited to see it in New York like some people did, or
I got
China.
invited, didn't go, but I'm
Look,
sorry.
Okay, I know you're gonna disagree with me, but here's why I'm excited. The same day as Google gave us milk warm, slightly incremental upgrades in hardware and tons of cool software, granted, and a weird talk show, we got this crazy, has always been crazy, and it will continue to be crazy, Chinese company Honor just go out there and go, hey, what if we take a DJI Pocket gimbal cam and stick it inside a phone? And we were all last year when we saw this going, yeah. I mean, for me, it was like cool. I like form factors that are cool, but I wasn't really thinking about what does that mean more than the engineering of it. Like, how are you going to make that work? How are you going to make that work without sacrificing battery life, performance, chipset, camera sensors and lenses, and still make a flagship out of this and keep the price reasonable and put silicon carbon in there and all that stuff that we expect Honor to do? And they nailed it. The specs are insane. And it's not too expensive. Well, it's China only right now. So, of course, the price would be much more for us if it ever came here. But look, they did it. They did it. Does it need to exist? Is it important? No. Should it exist? These are not the questions I'm asking. From an engineering point of view, they made it happen. And honestly, I think it's super cool. I just love the weird form factors. Like Michael, I'm on board.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever dropped the DJI Osmo Pocket?
No, but I've seen Becca drop DJI Osmo in her video recently, and we know what that did.
Okay, so I have dropped my Osmo Pocket 3 once, and I had to get a replacement.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I have had DJI drones that didn't even crash, but like kind of landed wrong and had the gimbal needed to be replaced. Yeah,
so as an engineer that you are, Miriam, you will totally understand that the more moving parts you have in a product, the higher the opportunity for failure. I'm still 100%
on board because it's just so cool because the motors are so small and so light and they managed to keep the weight under check and the whole thing still works and it's just magic. It's amazing.
How thick is it? How thick is it?
The phone is 9.8 millimeters, so a bit less than a centimeter. It's a little thicker. But that's not bad considering it's got an entire freaking gimbal in there. And it's a 6.3-inch display. It's a smaller form factor phone. Yeah, so they had to pack a 7,000 milliamp hour battery, 200 megapixel main sensor with a gimbal, 200 megapixel periscope telephoto, 50 megapixel ultra wide, 50 megapixel selfie, Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, tons of RAM, 16, 1 terabyte, and 80-watt charging, 50-watt wireless charging, no magnets. There's a case with magnets that has a built-in magnet kickstand, because that way you can actually use the gimbal for something. Look, it's a technical tour de force. Does it need to exist? Should you buy it? Is it going to break when you drop it? All of that is not important to me right now because it's just so cool. I kind of just want it because it's so cool.
Okay, fine. I won't disagree with you. Oh my God, I use an Insta360 Luna. And one of the things that I love about that thing is, right now that we did the briefing, I just tap on the person that's doing the demo. And then I'm holding the other camera. And then the gimbal camera is just moving around following the person. And I have to worry about it.
Now you can do that with a single phone.
Yeah.
You can carry your phone around that you can use for all your productivity and your everyday stuff and your messaging and your, phone calls. And then boom, deploy the beast. And, I don't know. That's what gets me. It's like, look, it's a niche product. And this is the thing that I really don't understand Samsung particularly is not doing. Samsung, who gave us the Note, who gave us the Galaxy camera.
The Fold.
Samsung, like Apple's never going to do this. Google's never going to do this. But the Chinese are just making phones that are going to sell 100,000 units and that are incredible R&D. And the reason they're doing it is because everything they're learning about making that phone is going to let the other shoe is going to drop. Mark my words, Jaime, they're going to make an Osmo Pocket camera from Honor, and it's going to be the smaller, thinnest, lightest because they can reuse all the R&D they did for the gimbal for this thing.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
And to me, this is the thing. The Chinese are doing these things so they can file patents, so that they can own the space, so that they can improve the tech and iterate. They don't care if they don't sell them. Like Ultra phones are Halo devices. You know, they
Yeah.
don't need to exist. You don't need to have an Oppo Find X9 Ultra camera system. As you know, the X9 Pro is perfect. So the thing is, Halo devices turn me on, and I'm glad that Honor and the other Chinese makers are just going like, let's do it. Like this Oppo Find N6 I have in my pocket alongside my Pixel is the perfect folding phone. It's
not just the perfect folding phone. I consider it to be the perfect phone. Like there is nothing you need from any other phone. Like the camera, it's the only foldable with a great camera. Only one. There's no other.
To be fair, the Magic V6 is pretty damn close. In some ways better. The telephoto I think is a little better on the V6. But look, it's you're like they're neck to neck. Whereas even the Z Fold 8 Ultra is, at least in cameras. And that's my point. Is like, why is it that Samsung, with all their might, cannot make an Ultra phone? Like a proper Ultra phone, right? Or doesn't want to. They know they can. They just don't want to.
I think the company can. I think the company is just in like, ever since they hired Huey has been focused more on the future, and foldables, as Apple is about to prove very soon, are the future.
I think the Z Fold 8 form factor might be the future of foldable phone.
The Z Fold 8, yes. Oh my God. Like people are going crazy over that phone. Like the amount of people that have bought it.
When Oppo makes a Find N7 wide.
You mean a Find N2?
Yes. You're talking about the Find N2, the Passport form factor original.
Passport form factor. They invented it. It was their phone.
They did it with the Find N first, actually.
Find N, which that battery is one of the ones that did not do well.
Oops.
Yeah, that was one, but that was a full prototype. That phone didn't even come to sale. Like Find N2 was like the one they actually shipped.
Yeah.
And then Google came out with the original Pixel.
Yeah, which was a prototype as well, basically, for that.
It was basically a prototype, but it had 3 cameras in a Passport style. So my review of the Galaxy Z Fold 8 is, wait, if every single foldable that's ever launched with this Passport design has had 3 cameras, what's the excuse here for only having 2?
Well, that's what I said in my review as well. But here's the thing. We know Samsung can do it. And we also know that when Oppo does it, this form factor, this new wide 4x3 inner, 16x10 outer, which, by the way, I wrote in my review, 16x10 is the aspect ratio of phones.
Of a MacBook.
It's also the aspect ratio of phones between 2012, 13, and 2017. Like, all the apps are going to run perfectly fine on that aspect ratio because...
Or any MacBook. It's always been 16x10 since...
Before they went to, the... Basically, when they still had the earpiece and the camera separate and the home button, that aspect, if you remove those parts top and bottom, you get the Z Fold 8.
Yeah.
So that's not a problem. So I think I'm very excited to see what Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, and Honor do with this wide form factor. We've seen what Huawei's doing. It's a little too thick and bulky compared to
the Pura.
Yeah, the Pura X Max. I think what I want to see is the thickness we have today on the Oppo Find N6, right? But give us that in a wide form factor with the same camera system and the silicon carbon battery and all that. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It has to. I just give me my cameras for
that's what I'm saying. Like it can't compromise on cameras. It can't be a sub phone. It has to be an equal phone. Give us 2 form factors that have the same specs. Don't do the Samsung thing where. And also the prices. God damn, why are those prices so high?
Or just listen. If we this is going to be a stupid request, but okay. So thinking about that Honor robot phone, I've always been like, whatever happened to modularity? Like, do I need my foldable to always be this amazing camera? No. But what if there were like these pins in the corner where you could just attach a really good camera to it with good optics and yada, yada, yada? Why don't we just come up with something like that? And that way it is like a good book style foldable in so many ways. And I only have to deal with that hump whenever I want to. Something, I don't know, or something you can screw on the module.
Well, they have that on the Pro and Ultra phones from Oppo and Vivo, those big Canons.
Yes, yes.
Not Canon, the brand, Canon, like the gun thing.
And here's the thing, Miriam. If you go to like a concert with the Find N9, with the Pro, not the Ultra, and you were to take a photo with that telephoto, that telescopic telephoto, you are able to, like the shutter on the camera changes. The shutter is so quick because of the optics that the photo is instant and perfect. If like I love when Oppo announced that the Find X9 Ultra had the same telephoto but built in. No, they don't, because the optics are not the same. So even if you have the capability, it's not going to freeze the moment as well as when you put that telescopic thing. So I'm like this is just amazing. Like, can we just do that for the primary?
Here's how I want to wrap this up.
Let's do
Oppo, if you're listening, give us a wide folding phone that matches the specs and the capabilities and the thickness and the beauty of the N6 and the cameras.
Yes, iterate if you want.
And then one-up it by giving us a Canon that we can attach to the folding phone, not just to your camera phones.
Yeah.
Like, hallelujah. That's it. That's it.
The perfect phone has been created.
We're done. The podcast is over. We've made our point. Jaime, tell people where they can find you on the internet and your various channels and social media handles.
YouTube.com/Jaime Rivera-tech, or also Jaime Rivera on Instagram, Jaime_Rivera. I hate the fact that I can't get my handle everywhere, but Jaime_Rivera on Twitter. I think, and TikTok is Jaime Rivera.tech. God,
cool.
So many. Like, you're lucky that you were able to get Tank Girl everywhere.
Well, except for, I'll get to that in a second, TikTok. But your channel is Jaime Rivera on YouTube, correct?
Jaime Rivera-tech.
Yeah, there you go. So, folks, listen, you want to see Jaime's videos? They're amazing. Cool stuff. Please subscribe to his channel. Please follow him on all the socials. And you know where to find me on the internet. I'm at Tank Girl, as Jaime just pointed out. TNKGRL, like Tank Girl, the comic book, drop all the vowels. That's my handle pretty much everywhere except TikTok, where it was taken by someone. I don't know. I had to add my year of birth at the end and 6'9". So Tank Girl 6'9". But everywhere else is Tank Girl. So if you want to comment or ask questions about this show, please do that on social. My podcast lives at mobiletechpodcast.com. That's where there's the RSS feed, but also, there's a web interface. You can listen to the shows there. But please subscribe. Go to your Spotify, go to your YouTube Music, go to your Apple Podcasts and subscribe. I'm on all the platforms. Just look for Mobile Tech Podcast with Tank Girl, TNKGRL. You'll find me. And if you want some video content, there's a youtube.com/Mobile Tech Podcast. That's where I post like monthly videos of like hands-ons and reviews with various devices. The most recent one are the Galaxy phones from London. And you know how YouTube works. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, comment, ring the bell. And finally, there is a Patreon. I mentioned it before, patreon.com/TNKGRL. I mentioned some visuals earlier in the show. And if you want to see those visuals, you can subscribe to the Patreon. $5 a month gets you every week a video version of the podcast. That's usually a little longer. I generally, publish it a day or so in advance, and you get less edits, you get more bloopers if we have them, and it's a little longer and a little more fun and a little more casual. You get to see our faces, we showcase devices, show and tell and stuff like that. So if you want a little more of an experience, join my Patreon, patreon.com/TNKGRL. And finally, I want to thank our sponsor, Mint Mobile. So as you know, I'm constantly reviewing multiple phones, and while that's fun, it also means I'm constantly spending a lot of money for wireless service on multiple SIMs. That's where Mint Mobile comes in, and that's who I'm partnering with for today's podcast. If you also want to save money on your wireless service, switch to Mint Mobile. As tech-savvy early adopters, you've probably heard of Mint Mobile before, but let me quickly tell you how awesome their service is. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep costs low because they sell direct to you online. They cut out the retail stores and salespeople. Why should you pay more than you have to for access to the same network? In my experience testing phones, Mint Mobile delivers the same data speeds and call quality as the big three for a fraction of the cost. Switching to Mint is super easy. Thanks to their eSIMs, you can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your home. No more standing around and waiting in line at a big wireless store. You can keep your current device and phone number and easily switch services. And if your phone isn't eSIM compatible, Mint will ship you a new SIM free of charge. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, lightning fast 5G, and free mobile hotspot. Mint will show you how much data you use each month and recommend plans that save you money. Mint also offers a modern family plan that lets you set up a super affordable family plan with as little as 2 lines. Use my link mintmobile.com/mobiletech to get premium wireless starting for $15 a month. That's mintmobile.com/mobiletech. Stop paying more than you need on your wireless bill and start saving big with Mint Mobile. And Jaime, thanks so much for joining me and nerding out about pixels and robot phones. And oh my, we got carried away. It was awesome.
Can't wait for the next episode. Always here. Love it.
Absolutely. We'll have you on the show again. And folks, I'll have another podcast next week. So stay tuned for that. Until then, cheers, everybody.